by now you should have finished your old school animation or your frame by frame animation, and now you're ready to go ahead and do your new school animation or tweening. What tweening is short for in between, and tweening is a process where you will draw the beginning and the ending point of an animation sequence, which can be known as the key frames or the important frames. And then you'll have the computer is going to fill in all of the frames in between for you. And the history of this you can read right here from Wikipedia. Is in traditional animation, when you had artists drawing everything, the senior artist would draw the more important of the key frames, and then you'd have the betweeners or your apprentices that would draw all the frames that would fill in between. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this rocket ship here, and we're going to give it an illusion of flying through outer space, have the planet move a little bit, have the star field move, and we'll do all that animation using tweening. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to save this image. It is a PNG file, so you can't just copy and paste it. I'll save it into my image folder. I'll make a new folder in there. Animation rocket. Now once you save it, you come over here and you can open it up in Fireworks. And you know you did it correctly if you see the three different layers. There's the rocket, the planet, and the stars. What I'm going to do first is let's go ahead and animate this rocket. Now, to tween something in Fireworks, it's basically a three-step process. The first step is you must convert the graphic into something that's known as a symbol. And the simplest way to do that is pressing F8 on your keyboard, or you go up to Modify, Symbol, Convert to Symbol. You F8 it. So I'm going to F8 it. There's three types of symbols that Fireworks works with: graphics, animations, or buttons. Animations, I tend to stay away from. If you turn something into animation, it'll second dialogue screen will pop up, and it'll allow you to kind of customize the animation sequence. I'd rather just keep it a graphic, and then we can move the animation the way we'd like to. So I'm going to keep it a graphic. I'm going to give it a name called Rocket, and I'll say OK. So that's the first step, convert it into a symbol, or F8. The second step is to duplicate it, to clone it, have two identical instances of the same symbol. So I'm going to go to Edit, Duplicate. And you want to keep track of which is the duplicate and which is the original. Because when we tween it, it's always going to move, the animation is going to flow from the original and it's going to travel to the clone. So this was the duplicate. So I'm going to move this guy down here. This is where it's going to end up, the rocket. And now the original, I'm going to resize it, give it a sense of perspective, and I'm going to have it start really small. Looks like it's starting off in the distance, and then it's going to fly over here and get bigger as it comes. So first step, F8. Second step, duplicate, which I did, and I placed them the starting point and the ending point. So you could think of these as kind of the key frames here, or key parts. Now the third step, you're going to actually do the tween. So you're holding down your Shift key. You want to select both the original and the duplicate. So they're both highlighted, and you can see them over here. They're both selected. And then you go to Modify, Symbol, Tween instances, or Control-Alt-Shift-T. And then it's going to ask you how many steps. In other words, how many frames do you want to build in between the original frame and the ending frame? And 10 is, that's not bad. That'll give it a pretty smooth look. You want to make sure you click Distribute to Frames. If you don't click that, it's going to draw 10 rocket ships in between our starting rocket and our ending rocket, and they'll all be in the same frame. By saying Distribute to Frame, it's going to create, I'll say OK. You can see over in your frames in history, now you have 12 frames total. The beginning frame where the little guy is, the ending frame where the big rocket is, and then all the ones in between. You can play it. So far so good. Now naturally frame 1 everything's there. That's where we started. Frame 2, the planet and the stars disappear because they weren't part of that tween. So now we're going to go ahead and do that same thing with the planet. I'm going to go ahead and click him. The reason you see these extra pieces on the planet is that's part of the swirl pattern that was used to create it. I'm going to F8 him. Who ate it? F8 it. Call it planet. Make it a graphic symbol. Now it's a symbol. You can tell something's a symbol because you see those dashed lines around it whenever you click it. That's this telling you it's a symbol. You can also see it up here in your layer panel. It says graphic symbol. Now I'll duplicate it. So I have 2 of them. And I'm just going to have my planet just move slightly across. And maybe the planet could get a little bit smaller. And then highlight both of them using my shift key, select them both, and now I can go ahead and tween them. Modify animation or modify symbol, tween. Once again, I want to distribute to 10. Okay, now when I play it, the planet stays up. Now you will notice on frame, when I get towards the end here, starting in frame 10, the planet is in front of the ship. Probably look a little better if it was flipped around. So I'm going to go into that individual frame. Now I'm kind of like mixing old school with tweening. I've used the tweening to get my animation started. Now I'm going to go in frame by frame and make a few small changes. I'm just going to put the planet behind the ship. There. And then the last step is to go back and do the same thing with the stars. Now it may be hard to select them, so I'm going to click them over here. F8 it, turn it into a symbol. Once they're a symbol, I can duplicate them. And I'm going to shift the stars just a little bit back this way. Give it an impression of extra speed. So select them both. So what we have here is 2 different instances of the same symbol. And just something to keep in mind, it's impossible. Fireworks will not allow you to tween symbols, different symbols. For example, I can't select the stars and the planet and then go up to modify symbol, tween. Before using it, it'll say select 2 or more instances of the same library. So it realizes these are 2 different symbols, 2 different instances, and it won't let you tween it. If it did let you tween between the stars and the planet, that wouldn't be a tween anymore, that would be a morph, because it would be morphing from the planet symbol into the star symbol. And you'll see in the next few weeks as we move to Flash, Flash will allow you to do that, but Fireworks you can't. So modify symbol, tween. That is about all there is to it. If you want to, might be cool to add a little comment. Go back to frame 1. You can go out to Google, get a comment, put that in there, have that fly across the sky. Might be kind of interesting. I'm going to go ahead and save it, and then I'm going to go 2 up and make sure I go to optimize and turn on animated GIF, not just GIF. You got to make sure it's animated GIF. It'll take a minute, and then I'm going to export that out. Save that. And that's about all there is to that one. Go ahead and link that up.